Hello and welcome to the News Express on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Adikan Michael. A reminder that we are on DSTV channel 365, free to air on Nicomsat. Now, President Bola Tinubu has reiterated his resolve to stabilize the economic community of West African states and contribute to peace in Africa. President Tinubu said this during the closing ceremony of the African Military Games 2024 in Abuja. In a statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Communications, Office of the Vice President Stanley Ngwocha, President Tinubu was represented by the Vice President Kashi Shettima, reiterated his administration's determination to root out all the forms of security threats and violent crimes in Nigeria. The Nigerian Armed Forces Operation Fansayama has said that the troops of the Joint Task Force Northwest Operation have successfully conducted a fighting patrol in response to a distress call from the residents and the vigilantes of the Galadima village in Mara local government area of Zamfara State. This was contained in a statement issued by the coordinator of the Joint Media Coordination Center of the operation, Lieutenant Colonel Abubakar Abdullahi. He said that the development occurred early hours of 1st of December 2024 when the troops of the forward operation base were alerted at about 5 a.m. when the terrorists were attacking the village. He added that the operation remained committed to eliminating any terrorist threat in the northwestern part of the country and the Niger state. In another development, stakeholders in the education sector have called for collaboration between school management and parent-teacher associations to address the menace of bullying in schools. The stakeholders made this call in a separate interviews in Abuja while reacting to reports of bullying in secondary schools nationwide, particularly a recent incident at the Federal Government College, Enugu. A former president of the National Association of Proprietors of Private Schools, FCT chapter, Dr. Olubokola, emphasized the need for schools to develop stringent measures to address bullying. She urged parents to take greater responsibility in raising morally upright children, noting that no school safeguarding policy will be effective if parents fail to play their role, as bullying habits often stem from the home. Borno State Governor Babagana Zulum has initiated the construction of an intra-city rail network to connect Maiduguri and its environs. These, according to him, marks the first project of its kind by any government in Nigeria's 19 northern states. The first phase of the project will include 12 designated terminals across Maiduguri, linking the key areas such as markets, schools, public spaces, and economically strategic locations, and is designed to ease passengers and goods movement and boost economic activities and expand economic corridors across the state. The National Association of Nigerian Student NANS has advised President Bola Tinubu to seek help outside his administration and political party if he is overwhelmed by the current socio-economic challenges facing Nigeria. The clerk of the Senate of the Association, Abdullah Kiyakin, who spoke in Abeokuta, Ogun State capital, said if the president has no solution to the country's economic hardship, particularly hunger, the administration should take the initiative to seek help from members of opposition parties. The deputy spokesman of the House of Representatives, Philip Agbeze, says that President Tinubu's proposed tax reform bills will take away the burden on poor Nigerians and the small companies when signed into law. The four executive bills have since introduction pitched the 36 state governors against the federal government, with the former calling for the withdrawal of the bills to create room for more consultation. Though some governors are said to be shifting their position on the matter, the Borno State Governor, Professor Zulum, has however called on his northern colleagues to reject the bills, insisting that if implemented, they will damage the region's economy. Meanwhile, the former Vice President and 2023 presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, has called for transparency and fairness in the National Assembly's ongoing review of the tax reform bills. In a statement, Atiku expressed concern over the uneven development across Nigeria's federating unit, stressing the importance of a fiscal system that ensures justice and equity. Atiku urged the National Assembly to conduct the public hearing on the bills with objectivity and inclusiveness, emphasizing the importance of involving diverse stakeholders, including civil society organizations, traditional institutions, and economic experts. Isoko Development Union Youth Wing Abuja branch has held the inaugural ceremony in Abuja with a call by the president of the union, Simon Anajude, for youth to contribute their quota in developing the Isoko people, the Niger Delta and the nation through the youth activism and commitment. Anthony Modo was at the union's inauguration and now has a report.
The Isoko Development Union President Simon Enajedu emphasized the importance of Isoko people as one of the oil-producing community in the Niger Delta and their need for the youth to uphold the interests of its people and Nigerians.
Their absence in the scene for some time have created a vacuum, and in the past we've seen many groups masquerading as a representative of the Isoko people. We are one of the highest oil producing nationality in Delta State. We can attract development to our place through youth activism. Where the elder will not be able to penetrate, the youth are well endowed to go there. Where the elder will hesitate, the youth has the zeal and the energy to also go there.
They will be dealt with. And a matter of fact, Isoko has been shortchanged in different aspects of life. We don't have good roads, we don't have hospitals, we don't have electricity. And we are producing oil. As a matter of fact, we are pains. And for the exception of this democracy, nobody from Isoko has become the minister.
Integrity matters. I have a t-shirt on it. I read integrity matters. When you say the truth, you'll be silent. You might be a low ranger, but stand by it. It might take a long time, but the truth will prevail.
The governor of the Isoko Development Union Youth Wing, Honorable Urude Batlomi, thanked the union's leadership for their inauguration, promising to work with all stakeholders, but also vowed to deal decisively with saboteurs of the Isoko people.
Any society without the youth is headed to doom, because life is of stages. Today, we promise to collaborate with all relevant bodies
And anti-corruption organizations, socio-economic rights and accountability projects has called and urged President Tinubu to direct the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Dun, and the Accountant General of the Federation, Oluwatunji Sirika, to disclose the specific names of the companies and contractors who collected over 167 billion naira from 31 ministries, departments and agencies but failed to execute any project. SERAP is also seeking the details of the projects for which the contractors collected and the proposed locations, as well as a number of contractors involved and amounts collected by each contractor. These shocking revelations are documented in the recently released 2021 auditor report by the Office of the Auditor General of the Federation. The Nigerian Police Force has dismissed claims linking its officers to a viral video showing uniformed personnel scooping fuel from a crashed tanker. In a press statement by the Force Public Relations Officer Olumiya, the NPF clarified that the individuals in the footage were not policemen but uniformed personnel from a neighboring francophone country. The NPF condemned the spread of the disinformation and unverified content that is said undermines the integrity of the force. Tension gripped residents early Monday morning as a fire outbreak at a market in the popular Trademore estate in Abuja. The cause of the fire remains unknown at the time of this report. An eyewitness account reveals that chaos erupted around 4 a.m. when the blaze engulfed the shops, and efforts to determine the extent of the damage and the source of the fire are ongoing. And now, after 35 years in Brazil, a businessman based in South America, Exocoli Silva, has returned home with 700 grams of cocaine buried in his stomach. A discovery made following his arrest by the operative of National Drug Law Enforcement Agency at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Ikeja, Lagos. The 59-year-old Exocoli was arrested at the E-Arrival Hall of the Lagos Airport upon his return from the Sao Paulo, Brazil on the Ethiopia Airlines flight via Addis Ababa. And now you're watching the News Express here on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital. When News Express returns, Central Bank of Nigeria's interest rate hikes and deflate the stock market's performance. We'll bring details of these as well as foreign and sports stories. Do stay with us. Welcome back to News Express. Now on to business. Stakeholders in the manufacturing sector have called for increased investment and support to enhance Nigeria's economy. This appeal was made during the 36th annual general meeting of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria for the Anambra Ebonyi Enugu chapter. The theme of the meeting was revitalizing Nigeria's economy through manufacturing-driven non-oil export. The chairperson of the MAN for Anambra, Enugu and Ebonyi, Ada Chukwudizie, emphasized the need for a paradigm shift in Nigeria's approach to export and the importance of supporting the manufacturing sector to drive the change. The Nigerian Exchange Limited closed last week lower as the stock market reacted negatively to the latest interest rate hike by the Central Bank of Nigeria. Last week, the Monetary Policy Committee of the Apex Bank raised the benchmark interest rate by 25 basis points by 27.5%. This marks the sixth consecutive rate hike this year, bringing the total rate increase to 835 basis points from the 225 in 2023. Now, reflecting on the impact of the MPC decisions of the stock market, the major performance indicator, Nigerian Exchange All-Share Index, declined by 0.3% week-on-week to close at the 97,507,87 points from the previous week. President Tinubu says the removal of oil subsidy by his administration was not to torment Nigerians, but to save the country from total collapse. The president, who announced the subsidy removal on the day of his inauguration on May 29, 2023, noted that the policy had been yielding positive results for the country. Tinubu said these in his address at the 34th and 35th combined convocation ceremonies of the Federal University of Technology, Akure, Ondo State. Represented by the Vice Chancellor of the University of Ilorin, Professor Wahab, the president said his administration was not unaware of the suffering of the people, but expressed assurance that there will be light at the end of the tunnel. Another foreign scene, Syrian President Bashar al-Assad sought to show up support from his allies Sunday after a monitor said a shock rebel offensive saw government forces lose control of Aleppo for the first time since the start of the country's civil war. An Islamist-dominated rebel alliance attacked the forces of the Iranian and Russian-backed government on Wednesday, and the same-day fragile ceasefire took effect in the neighboring Lebanon between Israel and Iran-backed Hezbollah after 2 months of all-out war. The Islamists hired to group and the allied factions now control the city, except the neighbors controlled by the Kurdish forces, ahead of the Britain-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights told the news. Georgia has seen a fourth night of street demonstration and a string of public resignation triggered by the ruling party's decision to suspend a push to start talks on joining the European Union. As tens of thousands of Georgians headed back to the street of several cities, the Prime Minister, Iraqi, said they had fallen victim to opposition lies and they rejected the calls for new elections. He confirmed the report that Georgia's ambassador to the U.S., David Zakhalini, had become the latest senior diplomat to stand down, explaining that he had come under considerable pressure. And now the United States President Joe Biden has issued an official pardon for his son Hunter, who was facing sentencing for 2 criminal cases, and despite assurances that he will not intervene in his legal troubles. The president said in a statement that no reasonable person who looks at the fact of Hunter's cases can reach any other conclusion than Hunter was singled out only because he is his son and that his stress is wrong. The move is sure to bring about the fresh scrutiny over the independence of the U.S. judicial system, especially at a time when the incoming President Donald Trump has moved to appoint loyalists to the FBI and Justice Department himself. And now the younger Biden was convicted earlier this year of lying about his drugs use when he bought a gun, and has also pleaded guilty in a separate tax evasion trial but had not faced sentencing. And on to sport news. Nigeria Football Federation may have perfected plans to relieve Augustine Akweven of his job as the Super Eagles interim coach and appoint a foreigner to handle the team's remaining 2026 World Cup qualifying matches, which will resume in March 2025. According to report, the football body is working on getting a foreign coach for the senior men national team before the resumption of the World Cup qualifiers in the March. The NFF President Ibrahim Gusau recently disclosed that they have approached the various sponsors over the payment of the salaries of a new foreign coach. Recall that in June, the NFF had announced that they will engage a foreign coach for the Super Eagles after Finidi George quit the post following a run of disappointing results in crucial 2026 World Cup qualifiers. Now, dozens of people have been killed in the clashes between the fans at a football match in the Guinea's second largest city. Hospital sources made this disclosure, and now they have described the scenes of the mass carnage, and videos circulating on the social media showed the scenes of chaos in the street outside the match and numerous bodies lying on the ground. An eyewitness says the angry demonstrators also vandalized and set fire to the police station. Local media said that the match was part of the tournament organized in honor of the Guinea's junta leader Mamadi, who seized power in 2021 coup and has installed himself as the president of the country. Manchester United 4-0 demolition of Everton on Sunday came with a concerning setback as Portuguese midfielder Bruno suffered an injury scare ahead of the club's midweek clash with Arsenal and delivered a stellar performance at the Old Trafford, providing 2 assists as Marcus Rashford and Joshua Zirkzee both scored braces to secure the Amorim's first Premier League's victory as United manager. And now the win elevated United to 9th on the table and marked a positive turn under Amorim's leadership. However, Fernandes left the pitch late in the game limping and wearing an ice pack around his ankle after being substituted for the Guinea. And that's a package on News Express coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. A reminder that we are on DSTV channel 365, StarTimes channel 276, and free to air Nicomsat. Kindly follow us on all social media platforms at Global TV NG. On behalf of the entire production team of Server, thank you for joining us on the news. I'm Edikan Michael. Many thanks for watching. See you again.